Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to learn something about Sri Lankan Buddhism in Europe. First, we need to know what is Sri Lankan Buddhism. According to my opinion, there is no special term or there is no special type of Buddhism called Sri Lankan Buddhism. Just as, for example, like Japanese Buddhism or Korean Buddhism, I think, or Tibetan Buddhism. Because in Sri Lanka there is no special particular kind of Buddhism that is practiced only by Sri Lankans. So usually we have the same Theravada tradition that is practiced in Thailand, Burma, Cambodia, and Laos. But we can call still it Sri Lankan Buddhism for the Buddhism that is being practiced in Sri Lanka, not for a particular kind of different or amended type of Buddhism. The Buddhism or the teaching of the Buddha remains itself without changing. Some of the traditions or some of the rituals in our Sri Lankan culture. Some of these cultural things have come together with Buddhism. Okay? So finally, for the practice that the Sinhalese people do with Buddhism can be said as Sri Lankan Buddhism. I think you got my idea. So as far as we believe, what we have as the Pali canon in Sri Lanka is mainly the original noble teaching of the Buddha. So this teaching, to this teaching it also includes some of the sayings of the noble monks such as Arhat. So we say that the whole Tripitaka consists of 84,000 skandhas. So skandha can be explained as part. So in commentary, the skandha has been interpreted as a meaningful part of a saying, for example, a complete sentence, or either the first two parts of a stanza, okay, to padas, or either a complete question, or either a complete answer. So these four interpretations are given to answer. So we can take the meaning as a complete, meaningful sentence or something like this. So there are 84,000 skandhas in Tripitaka, in the Pali canon. From these 84,000, 2,000 are Shravaka Bhashitas, the sayings of the disciples. 82,000 are the sayings of Buddha. Okay, so that is how it comes in the tradition.
2,000 are
Shravaka, by Shravakas, by
disciples. By disciples.
Yes.
And
82,000 are Buddha's sayings. So altogether there are 84,000. So according to this teaching, so actually this thing comes up in commentary by Buddha. According to this teaching or this saying, the whole Abhidharma Pitaka is the teaching, not the whole, mainly the Abhidharma Pitaka is the teaching of the Buddha. Okay? But now in present times there are studies by the scholars who say, yes, Abhidharma can be the roots of the teachings of the Buddha, but it also can be contain the later interpretations of the monks, okay, scholar monks. That is how it is taught by today's scholastic world. However, what I wanted to emphasize is we, the Sri Lankans, so the Sri Lankan monks, have not done any kind of amendation, change to the Pali Canon. Okay, the Pali Canon itself remains as we got it from India, from Arhat Mahinda, and we preserved it. So for the first time in the whole world, the teaching of the Buddha that came in oral practice has been written on the books of palm leaves in Sri Lanka. So I think this is one of the main important things in the history of Buddhism. If they have not written it on palm leaves, sometimes today we do not have any kind of Pali Canon. It is preserved only on these palm leaves, but unfortunately these original palm leaves before about more than 1,500 years, these things cannot be found today, but the copies of them still remain in the old libraries of our temples. So there are, I think there are 3 oldest copies of these Pali Canon. I don't say that is the second copy of the original one, but it might be second or third or whatever, some of the oldest copies. Okay. So that is how it is. So when this teaching of the Buddha comes into practice by monks and the lay people, so this practice we call Sri Lankan Buddhism to this shape. Okay. For example, when we recite, usually we don't use our Sinhalese own tradition to worship, to do the religious activities. We only use the Pali language. So we can quote the verses from Tripitaka, from the Pali Canon for doing these things. And when we do recitations, we only recite these Pali sutras. We don't translate them into Sinhalese language and recite them in Sinhalese language. Okay? But many of the even lay Buddhists know the meaning of these sutras. Okay, not the whole 8,000. So there are about 8,500 sutras only in Sutra Pitaka. Okay, the first part of the Pali Canon, Sutra Pitaka. Not all and not many of them, but the main sutras like Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Mangala Sutta, Parabhava Sutta, Siddhalavada Sutta, the main discourses like this, the meaning and interpretation is known also by lay people. Therefore, we don't need to tell them the meaning again and again. We just can recite them in Pali language and they understand what we recite. And on the other hand, the Pali is very much similar to Sinhalese language. Many of the words that we have in Sinhalese language are from Pali and Sanskrit language. Therefore, it is easy even for lay people to understand this noble language of the Buddha, Pali. Okay. The population, so there are about 17 million Buddhists in Sri Lanka. Altogether there are 21 million people in Sri Lanka. So 80% of them are Buddhists. And there are 9,000 Buddhist temples in Sri Lanka. and 35,000 monks, Buddhist monks. So the culture is very much together with Buddhism. To say people, so if I say people don't do anything beside or being aside from Buddhism, that is something like this. For example, when a child is to be born, this expecting mother comes to the temple and get the blessing. So we have a special sutra called Angulmala Paritta. So we recite it for the sake of this child, small child and the mother. So we believe that she delivers healthy, knowledgeable, good child, good baby. And the mother also remains healthy after the delivery. So this belief is there in mother and father too. Therefore they come to the temple even before the child gets birth. And after the birth, the thing first that they do is, before taking out to anywhere else, they take this child to the temple. Okay, for the first time, they take out from the house. So from hospital they take to the house, and from house they take to the temple. It's about after 21 days of the birth of the child. And the monks recite the sutras for the blessings of this child. And then when the time comes to feed this child for the first time, not the breastfeeding, but some rough food. Okay? So the first food is given after the blessings of the monks. So they invite the monks to the house and give dana, give food to the monks. And after feeding the monks, after giving the food to the monks, they take a little part of this food and let it eat the child, feed the child. So this is also a ceremonial thing that is being practiced even from the ancient time. Even King Dutugamunu, a very famous king in Sri Lanka, when he was a child, at that time also the parents, the king and the queen, gave some rest part of the food from the eatings of the monks. Okay? That means they took some food from the bowl after the monks have finished eating. And they gave this part to the child. They believe that it is very blessed thing. So, after that, the naming ceremony, before that there comes the naming ceremony, the naming the child, that is also done mostly by the monk. So they ask the monk to give a name to the child. So the monk gives a very meaningful name to the child. So then this feeding ceremony, and after that, when the child has grown old, the first time that he goes to a school or preschool, that time also they get the blessing. And then when he grows up, before the exams in the school, before the exams they get the blessing. Exams.
Any kind of exam?
The main exam. For example, once a year, something like this. There are main two exams, ordinary level and advanced level. So before these exams, they get the blessings. And after that, when this person is selected to be gone to the university, so before going to the university, then also they come to the temple and get the blessing. And after university is finished, before having a job, so if he or she has got a good job, then they come to the temple and again get the blessing. And when they are going to get married, that is something very special. They invite the monks to the home and the both couple get the blessing. And after that, when they are ill, or when they, for example, when these parents again expect the children, then that time also they get the blessing. And when, for example, in the deathbed, that time especially they invite the monk and let the ill person listen the good things done by him for her. Okay? So they let him offer a certain kind of gift, we call it pirikara, to the monk, and then he gets married, and it will be helpful displeasing the mind and getting ready the mind for the next birth. It is very important. So now he can remember the good merits done by him, and then we believe that he will get a good birth in heaven or either in human birth. That is how it is. And after the death, after 2 or 3 days of the death, before they before they take the this dead body to the cemetery, then that time also they offer the robes to the monks, the pagan or the relatives, they offer the robes to the monks and transfer this merit to the dead person. Okay? And then after the cremation, after 7 days of the death, they invite about 10 monks into the house and they offer food to the monks, dal, and then they transfer merit.
After 10 days?
After 7 days.
After 10 days.
Yes. First 2 days after, 2 or 3 days after the death, when the dead body is already there in the house. And so before cremation. Okay, yes. It's called Pamshupula. And even after 3 months, they do such kind of dana ceremony. And after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years like this, some people continue it up to 20 years or 40 years sometimes. Like this. So that is how it is. On the other hand, they come to the temple at every time that is possible for them. Some people come to the temple every day after they finish their work, daily work. So that is why I told it's very much connected Buddhism and English culture to Buddhism. So then, when they migrate to overseas, then also they take their own culture, tradition, and Buddhist practice to it. That is why they need the monks in their own country. For example, when they come to Germany, they need to establish a temple and they need to do the same religious activities in the foreign country. So that is how the temples are being made in overseas. So mainly the Sri Lankan temples that are in Europe. So today our main topic is to talk about the Sri Lankan Buddhism in Europe. So mainly these temples are established not for the sake of the original people in the country, okay, but for the sake of Sri Lankans in those countries. So it doesn't mean that all these centers or temples do not do any kind of service to the local people. They do a very good service, but mainly the service is focused on the Sri Lankan people. And it is those Sri Lankans who help to continue these temples, who do the contribution. Not the local people. Some local people do some kind of donations, but it is mainly based on the donations of the Sri Lankan people. So these are the European countries. I think you can't distinguish red and black here. So I will show you Austria. Austria is a country with a Sri Lankan temple. There is only one temple. Cyprus also, there is a temple. Czech Republic, there are 2 temples. Denmark, there is 1 temple. France, there are 2 temples. Germany, there are 4 main temples and 3 residences of the monk. Greece, there is 1 temple. Italy, there are 14 temples. And the other countries like Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Poland, in these countries there are no Sri Lankan temples. Again, in Sweden, Switzerland, and United Kingdom, there are Sri Lankan temples. In Sweden, there are two temples. There is one temple. Switzerland, there are 3 temples. United Kingdom, there are many, I think more than 14. So those are the countries where there are Sri Lankan temples. So that is, as per to my knowledge, there can be some centers also in other countries, but I have not got any kind of knowledge about that. I think mainly, I'm sure in these countries there are Buddhist temples, and later I will give you a list of the temples that we have in these countries. Okay. First we go to Austria. In Austria, in Vienna, we have a center called Thalpawila Kusalagnana. So Venerable Kusalagnana is a German monk. So as a layman, he went to Sri Lanka. First he went to, I think, to Colombo, and then he went to Island Hermitage. I think, yes, he is the person who began this Island Hermitage in Polgastur, that's in southern part of Sri Lanka. So then, after being a monk and after getting higher ordained, later, after having a proper knowledge of Theravada tradition and meditation practice, he was one of the main monks or main people who were there for the establishment of Thalpawila Buddhism in Europe. So, as a respect to him, this center has been established there in Vienna. So the services are such and such. So as meditation, they have 3 kinds of different meditation: recitation and meditation, all-day meditation, meditation seminar. So I think in these meditation seminars, they do it for 7 days like this. All-day meditation means the people come in one day, early in the morning, and the whole day they do different kinds of meditation sessions. This recitation and meditation means every day in the evening they do the meditation together with the people. And they have Buddhism study group and lecture services, Buddhism course, and now they are affiliated to the University of Pali and Buddhism, Pali and Buddhist in Sri Lanka, that is in Omagama. So, as a branch of this university, they have in Vienna this Buddhist university called SIM, the Academy of Buddhism. It's established before 2 years. And they have a Buddhist library and children's village. That means from here, from the donations, in this case I have to remember that these donations are mainly from the Austrian people, not from the local people. Okay, so I saw I don't know whether this is a personal thing, but it was there in their website. They showed that they have 75,000 euros in their account. So that means that is in a good status. Okay, so they do a great thing to help the children in Sri Lanka. Okay. In Cyprus, there is only one temple. It's called Nicosia Buddhist Temple. In Cyprus, there live about 25,000 Sri Lankans, and 80% of them are Buddhists. And there are people who help this Sri Lankan temple from China, Nepal, Thailand, India, Bangladesh, Philippines, Burma, and so on. So the temple authorities estimate that there are 5,000 people who visit the temple on a regular basis. That means I think in every month there are about 5,000 people who visit the temple.
25,000 people in Cyprus is quite a lot.
Quite.
Cyprus is so small, and I don't know how many attendants it has, but it's big.
Yes, the reason is there are many people who go to the Cyprus to work there. As I don't know who do they work, but so the airlines, one of the main airlines in Cyprus have also decided to begin a flight from Cyprus to Sri Lanka regularly, I think twice a week, like this, because there are many people who come from Cyprus and who go to Sri Lanka from Cyprus. Yes, I think it's a big number. But all 25,000 people do not come to the temple. Sometimes they might be away from the temple, far away. Some are non-Buddhists, so in that case, they don't come to the temple. So even non-Buddhists come to the temple sometimes, but not all non-Buddhists. And check. There are two Buddhist centers, Samadhi Meditation Center and Lotus Center in Prague. So these two temples are inaugurated by Bhante Vimala, a Sri Lankan Buddhist monk, who had his religious education in my own temple in Maharagama, that's called Bhikkhu Training Center or Dharmayakaya. So he first has come to the USA and spent some time there, I think about 10 years, and then after that he came to Czech Republic, and then there he started this center. So that is a huge center with 30 acres or 10 hectares. It's very huge, and it's in the top of a small mountain, and in a calm, nice environment. So the people that go there and do meditation are mainly Germans. So the monk told me, yes, many Germans come regularly to the center. Okay. I think it's very difficult to see the pictures. No, it doesn't help. It's very light. I think the light comes from that. Yes, so here there are even the stone caves in this monastery. So that is a picture of the front view of the temple, of the meditation center, right side. And there we can see some group of foreign people who do the meditation. And that is a photo of the Vesak ceremony. So they have depicted this Dhammachakra, the wheel of Dharma, on the floor, and lit it with the oil lamps or candles or something like this. Pictures are.
How did you buy the land?
So I
From Sri Lanka?
I think he has done a service in USA. There he has got a certain kind of part of donation, and then he came to the Czech Republic. There also he established. I think first he began with a small center, small place, and there he collected some funds, and then there is a society for this monastery, this meditation center, but it's a huge, very huge center, and yes, so this monk is doing a great service. The apart from those meditation projects or things, he does many humanitarian projects. So he is donating heart checking monitors, and he helps many in Africa, to the people in Africa, in Kenya, and so on. And he even helps Muslims, Hindus, and he's doing the services in Burma, Myanmar. And in Haiti, after the earthquake, he went there and he helped them in Haiti. And after tsunami, he has done many things. And after cyclone in Bangladesh, he went there and helped them. So I think he has many funds, and he does the service for all the countries in the world, the poor countries in the world. So, but something special of him is there are no two monks in this center. No, only he is there. Yes, he is doing this thing alone. So it is something very different.
There is no discussion.
Yes, he has. So he has two students in Sri Lanka, 2 months from Mongolia. So he brought two children from Mongolia and he let them ordain. And then these two are one is in Maharagam in my temple, and the other one is in Kenya. But both are in Sri Lanka. So 1 month went to Kenya for some time, for 6 months, and after that he told, no, I can't live here, because there are threats for the self, because he can't go out in that country like this. Therefore he went back to Sri Lanka. Yes, so that is how the things in Czech Republic. So he has a nice website. So there are, if you need to see more things, you can refer to that. It's called bhantevimala.com. And then Scandinavia, in Denmark, there is Copenhagen Buddhist Vihara. In Stockholm, there is Stockholm Buddhist Vihara. In Sweden. And again in Sweden, in Skåne, there is a new Buddhist temple called Skåne Buddhist Vihara, and in Norway there is Visaran Buddhist Association. So this association has no their own temple yet, but they have a certain center that they have rented out, and they run it, and there are many people who help the center. And they hope to buy their own building for a temple in Norway. So in Skåne there is only one Buddhist monk. In Stockholm there are 3 Buddhist monks. In Copenhagen there is 1 Buddhist monk. I think there are not so many Buddhists in these countries, but especially in Sweden, I went there once, and the monk told me there are 1,000 people who give the regular donations to the temple in every month. Not only Sri Lanka. I think Swedish people too. And mainly there are other Buddhist people, for example, Vietnam, Cambodia, Bangladesh. These people also help very much. Okay. In France. So we have nice pictures, but here they are not clear. So in France, you have 2 temples. One is Centre Buddhist International, I don't know how to pronounce this in French. And the other one is Dhammachakra Buddhist Vihara. So in the first picture in the left side, we can see the monk is begging on arms with his bowl, and the people offer the food to the monk. And second picture is what you call procession, yes. They go with the drums and with Buddhist flags. So usually they carry relics of the Buddha, and a statue of the Buddha, and the monks are also going in this pedestrian. Yes, I think this photo is from the Vesak ceremony. So they have made. So I want to say that usually in Sri Lankan temples there are. First of all, they have Sri Lankan New Year ceremony that comes in 13 April, and after that they have Vesak ceremony in May. They have Poson in June. Poson is the day. Poson full moon holiday is the day that Arhat Mahinda brought Buddhism to Sri Lanka. And then they have rain retreat invitation ceremony in July. That means the monks observe rain retreat. The people come to the temple and invite them to observe this retreat, and the people promise that they will help them with roads, food, living places, and medicine. These four requisites. And then we have Katina ceremony, the robe offering ceremony, in October or either in November. So these main ceremonies are there in Sri Lankan temple. Okay, Germany. Das Buddhistische House is the oldest Buddhist temple. Apart from the London Vihara in UK, in England, so the London Buddhist Vihara is established in 1926. So Das Buddhistische House, I think it's also from 1920s, so in the early 18th century. Yes. So there was a German called Dr. Paul Dahlke, who later became a Buddhist, and then he made his house partly a temple and partly his living place. And after that, after his death, a Sri Lankan Buddhist organization or association called the German Thalpawila Society collected money or collected donations from Sri Lanka. That time it was, I think, 150,000 marks. It was only 150,000 marks, Deutsche marks. They bought this land, and then they established this Sri Lanka. So they made a Sri Lankan Buddhist temple. The same name remained there. The Buddhist house means the Buddhist house. Now people call it either the Buddhist house or Berlin Vihara. So we have photos of this Berlin Vihara. The first two are, the upper two are the photos of Berlin Vihara. So the entrance is very nice. It has an ancient look. Now it's almost 100 years old. And then the steps are in stone. So they have 5-acre land there. It's also huge. And the other photo is the library of the temple, and also there is a place where they do have discussions, have classes, and so on. The later two are my center. So one is we are doing a flower and medicinal drinks offering ceremony to 28 Buddhas. So we have 28 Buddhas. We have the names of them. Beginning from Tanhankara Buddha and ending from Gautama Buddha.
Who is the owner of this temple? After.
You mean Das Buddhistische House?
Yeah.
Berlin? Yes. There is no owner. There is a trust. There is a trust of 5 people. Okay.
Like committee.
Yes. So there is a trust. There are 5 trustees, and after that there is a committee. Okay, management committee. So these 5 trustees are there. So without the permission of all these 5 trustees, they can't do anything like selling a part of the land or buying something new, something like this. Okay? Yes. So in Berlin there is another new Buddhist center, Sambodhi International Buddhist Center. There is one more, and in Hamburg it's my center. So we started it in Hamburg. Now we do the religious activities in Buddha because we have a big hall there.
So your center?
Yes.
Oh.
So we have about 100 helpers or 100 people who come to the temple for the special ceremonies, but regularly we have about 30 people nearby. Okay. The other people come from somewhat, like Bremen, Hanover, like this, and even from Berlin, from what do you call it? Where is the Traum? Lübeck, in Lübeck, from these areas, people come to the temple. And in Frankfurt, it is Mahamevnav monastery. So this Mahamevnav tradition is a very famous tradition in last 10 years, or yes, to say 10 years. So mainly there are 500 Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka in the main monastery of Mahamevnav. 500 Buddhist monks. And in Bonn there is one Buddhist temple, there are also one Buddhist monk. And there are 4 other monks and there are 3 other residences of the monks, but they are not regarded as temples. Munich, and Frankfurt. Okay. And in Greece there is Buddhist Cultural Center in Athens. They have an archetype of Buddha Hall with a pinnacle, and so pinnacle means all the bars come together connected. So this is the ancient type, and lecture hall, living room for the monks, and yes, it's a new center since 2007. Yes, and they have the ceremonies like full moon day, precept observation, meditation practice, and Sunday school. And in Italy there are, so I have divided it into 2 parts like this. So in Italy they have 2 centers in Milano, 2 in Verona, 1 in Brescia, 1 in Modena, 2 in Rome. And again, 1 in Firenze, 1 in Genoa, 1 in Napoli, 1 in Sicilia, 1 in Catania, and 1 in Messina. There are about 100,000 Sri Lankans in Italy. 100,000. From them, there are about 55,000 Buddhists. 14 temples and 26 monks are residing in Italy. So mainly these Buddhist temples are actually, as I told, are based on Sri Lankan people. So there is no much effort is done for conveying the Dharma to Italians. I don't know why, maybe because of this language problem. Many Italians don't understand, I think, very well even English. And for the monks it is very hard for them to learn Italian language. Even they learn this language, it is hard to preach in Italian. Because there are no terms in this language, I think, to explain the religious idea. For example, like the teaching of no self, the teaching of nirvana, the vipassana, these kinds of things. It is very hard to explain in that language. So, due to any reason, the people that gather to these temples are mainly Sri Lankan. But there are some people, some Italians and some foreign people who come to the temple, but they have some kind of connection with Sri Lanka. For example, somebody is married to a Sri Lankan, or there is a friend or relative or whatever. Because of such reason, those people, Italians, come to the temple. Otherwise, they are Sri Lankans. So in Italy, it's just like Sri Lanka. They even have ceremonies. They have these parades even on the road. This is the main road. In the second picture, you can see they dance, cultural. They do cultural dances and they play the drums. And they take the big umbrellas, decorated umbrellas. And the monks are going on this parade. So this is one of the Kathina parades. This is before the robe offering ceremony. They take this robe around the village. Maybe they walk about 2 kilometers. So it is not that much cold in Italy like in Germany. So due to these reasons, they can do these things better than in Germany. So I think if it happened to do in Germany, I think it is hard to get the permission of the authorities to do such things on the streets. But in Italy, it is easy to do. They do such things, and Italians open the windows and they look it, and they are interested in these things. So in the first picture, you can see a statue of the Buddha being carried in a decorated vehicle. And later, you can see there are many people who are gathered in the temple. And the other one is the Vesak decoration. They have done these lanterns beautifully. So they use bamboo sticks to make this, and then they cover it with the papers, colored papers, and then they put a light inside. In early times, we put a oil lamp or a candle inside. So we do these things in especially Vesak ceremony. In United Kingdom, also there are many temples. So this thing also I have made in 2 parts. So in Hounslow, Birmingham, Bristol, London. So in London, mainly there are many temples. Birmingham, Lancashire, Leicester, Hertfordshire, there are temples. Chiswick, Essex, Oxford, Edmonton, Kingsbury, Glasgow, Salisbury. Not only in England but also in other countries in UK. There are Buddhist temples. Yes, so here I have made a description about London Buddhist Vihara because it is the very first Buddhist Vihara outside. So they say it is outside Asia. It is the first Sri Lankan Buddhist temple. Not Buddhist temple that belong to any kind of country, but a Sri Lankan Buddhist temple. In 1926, it's established by Anagarika Thalpawila, who is very famous. And then a famous Buddhist monk called Narada Thera is from Vajrarama. So that Vajrarama is the mother temple of myself too. It's in Bumblebee in Colombo. He came to 1958, and then in 1994 the temple moved to present premises at Chiswick. And Venerable Bogoda Sila Vimala is the present chief incumbent. There are about 4 Buddhist monks residing there. Now this land is their own place, they have bought it. Okay. And then this is also from London. It's the Lecture Buddhist Vihara, where I was there for last 3 months. So you can see they also go a parade like this, taking the relics of the Buddha and taking this Kathina robe. And the right side above, you can see the people offering alms, offering food to the monks. So you can see something special. They all wear white clothes. So this is the tradition. So when you come to the temple, you may wear white clothes. And you can see below left, a special gift is being offered to the monk. It is called Atapirika, the 8 main things that a monk uses. So there is a bowl, there are 3 kinds of robes, there is a razor, there is a strainer for straining water, for having pure water, and there is a needle and thread to stitch the rope when it is torn out. So these 8 things, and there is also the belt. These 8 things are called Atthaparikara. It is one of the main things that the Buddhists offer to the monk, because that is very helpful for the monk in his life. And then in the next picture you can see the gathering. There I think it is hard for you to see at the end. You can't see at the right side of the photo. There are the Buddhist monks who are making a round like this, and there they do a certain kind of special, verse-like thing, special recitation for giving this Kathina robe to a certain relevant monk. So that is what they are doing there in this ceremony. Okay, and we have come to the final part of the presentation in Switzerland. There are 3 temples: Sri Lanka Mahavihara, Zurich Buddhist Vihara, and Geneva Buddhist Vihara. So in Sri Lanka Mahavihara, there is 1 monk. In Zurich temple, there are 3 monks. In Geneva temple also, there are 3 or 2 monks. So in Switzerland, the language German is spoken. Some monks of these temples know German, therefore they do some religious activities in German language. Therefore I think there are some of the Germans who participate in religious activities. And the temple in Geneva, I was there once. They have daily meditation retreat, not for Sri Lankans but for Swiss people. So the people in their lunch break, they come to the temple and they do meditation for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And there they have some kind of food in the temple and then they leave. So that is how it is. Mainly, I think there are more than 50. Yes, there are. I think there are altogether about 75 temples in Europe. Sri Lankan Buddhist temple. The main Buddhist temple. Apart from them, there are many Buddhist societies. For example, in Hamburg, while we have a temple there is another Sri Lankan organization. They just have an organization and they gather sometimes 4 times a year, and they also have religious activities. They invite the monks from outside and they do the religious activities. So the Sri Lankan tradition is mainly mainly based on Buddhist monks, not the lay people. That means that the religious activities are done mainly by Buddhist monks, not the lay people. So if a lay people says, I am going to begin a temple, it is impossible to him. He can't get the help of anybody. Because in tradition it is believed that a temple is the place where there are triple gem. Triple gem are Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So Sangha in our tradition mainly means the monks, not the lay people. Therefore, if there is a temple, there must be a monk. So a layperson cannot run a Buddhist center or temple or whatever thing. He or she can conduct the meditation sessions and so on, but it is very hard for them to do this because the tradition believes that it should be a monk who can well teach Buddhism. So that is how it is, because the monk has devoted his own life for sometimes for several years. Therefore, they believe that there should be a monk to do this thing. So that is how it is. Okay. So if you have some other things some other questions to ask, you can ask. Otherwise,
there are some certain subgroups or certain sects in Sri Lankan Buddhism. You know, you call this Mahanava group.
which one?
Is this a subgroup of
Mahanava? No. To say, like in other countries, like in other Buddhist countries, like they have different subgroups, there are no subgroups in Sri Lankan Buddhism. There is only one Buddhism, and all of them believe in the Pali canon. None of them say this part is wrong, this is not according to Buddhism, like this. By tradition, they all believe in the same Buddhism, same teaching. This Mahavimnava thing is some kind of different movement by some of their practices. Okay? To say like, sometimes I told you, when a person is dead, the monks go there and do a certain kind of religious ritual, and the people offer robes to the monk, and then they transfer the merit to this dead person. So this Mahavimnava monks do not visit the dead, the people where there is a dead ceremony like this. So that is different from some kind of activities or practices, but mainly they also believe in the teaching of the Buddha. So I can't say that that is a different kind of sect-like thing. That is also the main practice. But from according to the countries that Buddhism has brought to Sri Lanka, not in the first time, but later, when, for example, there came time era, that in that era or in that time period, there was no any kind of higher ordinated Buddhist monk. There were the people who called themselves monks, but many of them have taken the robe themselves. So it is not what you call, the tradition doesn't allow it. You can't be a monk yourself. You must have a higher ordinated teacher who is more than 5 years of his higher ordination. Such kind of a good master should be there for you to take your ordination. So in this era, the generation of higher ordinated monks finished. That time, the king decided to send some group of monks to a country where higher ordination was prevalent by that time. So first they went to Burma and led these monks. So there were about more than 5 months, I think 6 months. And these 6 months got higher ordination from Burma. It's called, the part is called Amarapura. From that part, they brought this higher ordination to Sri Lanka, and they led the other monks to higher to ordain to get the higher ordination. So after that, this movement was called Amarapura Nikaya, the sect of Amarapura. But it is itself the Theravada Buddhism. And then later on, some other part of group of monks went to Thailand and brought Buddhism. It's called Siama Nikaya or Siam Nikaya from Thailand. Another group of monks again went to Burma, to Ramananda, this part, and then they brought Buddhism, this higher ordination again, that is called Ramananda Nikaya. So, because of this reason, there are three main sects in Sri Lanka: Amarapura Nikaya, Ramananda Nikaya, Siama or Siam Nikaya, these three Nikayas. But there is no difference between, or there is no debate or whatever differentiation between these three sects. All three sects sit together, preach together, they eat together, they live together sometimes. There is no any kind of differentiation. So that's how it is.
If you take the whole of Theravada Buddhism in Europe, well, how much percentage is Sri Lankan Buddhism?
I think, so I can't say exactly the amount, but I think the most of the Buddhist population in Sri Lanka or in Europe are Sri Lankan. So there are Burmese, there are Thailand people. Thailand people are also many, but Burmese are not many. Burmese are very few, I think. So Cambodia and Laos, there are very less people in Europe. So in that case, I think, so if you regard in Italy, there are 100,000 people or 55,000 Buddhists, and in London there are about about 60 or 70,000 Buddhists. So in that case, I think the majority is Sri Lankan, but I don't know for exactly to answer this question, but I think so. Yes.
So in England and Italy, there are many Sri Lankans, and when we just take Germany, because I think we have a lot of Thai people in Germany.
Yes, there are very few Sri Lankans in Germany. I think in whole Germany there are about, I think it's less than 10,000 people. So in that case, there are about, so half of them are Tamils. So they are Christians or either Hindus, mainly Hindus. So there are about 5,000 Buddhists in whole Germany. I think in Berlin itself there are 1,500 Buddhists. So in Bonn there are 500 or 600 Buddhists. In Hamburg we have only 100 Buddhists. In Bremen and Hanover, in this area, we have more 100 people, about 100 people like this. So in few. However, in Germany, I think there are many Thai people. But in Italy and so I saw the gathering in this temple. So I also have been to some Vietnamese and Thai temples in some of these countries. So yeah, they have many disciples, but yeah, Vietnamese Buddhism is not Theravada, it's Mahayana Buddhism. So there are many thousands of people in Vietnam. Regarding Theravada Buddhism, I think there are no many other people like Burmese or Cambodian or Lao people. There are many Thai and there are many Sri Lankan people. Okay.
I have 3 questions. You said there are no differentiations among these 3 sects, Siam tradition and the other traditions. But is there, how to say, is there a head monk of each Buddhist sect is there?
There are four head monks.
Four head monks.
Yeah, in Syama Nikaya there are two head monks.
Uh-huh.
The other two Nikayas there are two others. Those are called Mahanayaka. So Mahanayaka, there are only four Mahanayaka theras in the whole Sri Lanka. There are only four. But there is no one main person who is responsible for all these Buddhist monks. Like Dalai Lama, we have no such person who is the highest person. No. There are four Mahanayakas. Maha means great, Nayaka means leader, the highest leader. The other leader monks are called Nayaka or Anunayaka. Anu means secondary, yes, secondary leader. So there are many Anunayakas and there are many Nayakas in one sect.
So is there any difference between them with regard to interpreting, Buddhist?
Not at all. Not at all. There is no difference in interpretation. For example, the debatable topics like Antara Bhava, the birth between the death and the rebirth. The cases like this, all the monks are in one opinion. There is no Antara Bhava. There is no status between death and birth. And for example, can one attain nirvana in this very life? The all monks say yes, you can. If you have courage and if you want and if you have the merit. Okay? Yes, it is possible. What else? Yes.
So, so there's never doctrinal debate between different sects.
No. So for example,
so amazing.
Sorry?
That's amazing. And it's amazing.
Amazing,
Yeah.
yes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's it possible?
It's unique in a way.
I think so.
Because even in Thailand, there are small subgroups of the new religious movement, Theravada Buddhism.
Yes, okay. So in former time, before about 1,000 and 1,500 years, there were different kind of schools that had different opinions. Like, for example, we also had this Sautrantika, Madhyamaka. Yeah, but now, to say now there are no different groups like this. However, yes, amazingly so. Okay. So there are some kind of different opinions like this. There are some monks who doubt whether Abhidharma is originally taught by Buddha. But they don't preach it publicly. For example, sometimes they might have doubts, but they don't preach it in public. For example, for example, if a lay person needs a monk to have a religious sermon in his home, it doesn't matter whether he invites a monk from Syama Nikaya or Amarpura or whatever Nikaya, all come and all teach a certain kind of teaching that is not contradicting the other teachings or other teachings of the other monks. Okay? So, from the part that he stopped, another monk can come and continue.
So that means you are always sharing same nikaya, same text when you you learn, Buddhist teaching in Buddhist, let's say, school,
Yes.
training center,
Yeah.
university, you are using.
Yes,
same,
we have same Thalpawila. We don't
Yeah.
have two kind of Thalpawila. We learn outer things, but we name them as outer things. For example, if we learn Mahayana, we name this is Mahayana. We distinguish the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, we know this is Theravada and this is Mahayana. We don't mix up two things.
Okay.
So we don't have different kinds of, for example, a belief, a part of belief from Mahayana, part of belief from Tibetan, and part of belief from Hinduism or whatever, Taoism, part of from Theravada. We don't have mixed up ideas. We can distinguish. So, for example, especially the monks need to distinguish these things, because if he is going to preach Buddhism, he needs to preach the Theravada Buddhism. You can't preach Mahayana Buddhism in a religious sermon. If you want to preach it, yes, you can say, today I am coming and today I am preaching Mahayana, not Theravada. You have to name it what this is, and only then you are allowed to teach. Okay?
Yeah. So, who can be kind of acharya monk in the university? Who can be?
In the
university.
university.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what is the
Qualification.
qualification
Yeah.
and what's the whole educational system in Sri Lankan
Yes,
tradition?
yes. So, in universities, there are bachelor degrees and there are master degrees and there are master of philosophy. So, if I come gradually, first it begins from bachelor's degree. If it is a special degree, it runs for 4 years. If it is a general degree, it runs for 3 years. After that, there is, if you like, you can do a postgraduate diploma. Otherwise, you can do an MA degree. MA runs for 2 years, or sometimes, in some cases, for 1 year. And then, you are allowed to do either a PhD or Master of Philosophy. In many cases, you are not allowed to do a PhD directly.
Yeah.
You have to do a Master of Philosophy. But depending on your own skills, you can show that you are very skilled and you can jump to PhD, or you can upgrade your Master of Philosophy to a PhD degree. In Buddhism, so we have 3 main Buddhist universities. One is in Anuradhapur, it's called Buddhist University. One is in Hamburg, it's called University of Aryan Buddhism. One is in Candy, which is affiliated with this university, our Hamburg. So there are 3 Buddhist universities, but in all other universities, you can learn Buddhism.
You mean all other?
In all other universities, like University of Colombo, University of Sabaragama, University of Rohuna, in all other universities,
You can learn Buddhism.
you can learn Buddhism. There are courses, there are degree courses. Yeah. Buddhism is the main subject of art faculty in each university.
So any monk can enter any university to learn Buddhism.
Yes, if you have passed your advanced level very well, you have to. So I told you, in school education, you have 2 different exams. Ordinary level, that comes in 11th year, and after 2 years you have advanced level. Advanced level, you have to pass in a certain kind of specialized subject like art, science, or whatever. So you have to have a good result of your advanced level degree. Then only you are eligible to enter the university. Otherwise you can't. So being a monk, you can't go to any university. You can't. You have to have the certain kind of knowledge and education.
Like ordinary people.
Yeah, yes, there's no difference in selecting to the university, whether you are a monk or a lay person. So in the case of university education, this is something else. But you can be a preacher, you can be a master in your religious system without going to the university. You don't need to go to the university to be a master, to be a religious leader. Okay?
A question concerning the transmission of the Buddha Dharma to Sri Lankan people here in Europe generally, concerning the, let me say, the second generation, the children, not the people who migrated, but their children. Is this still alive? How is the situation?
Partly alive. So, to say 3/4 of them is alive, for example, 75%. Yes, they are ready to continue Buddhism in their generation and to present it to their own children, but 25% no, because they are very much mixed with German culture. Yes, but in this case I have to say something. When it happened for them to learn Buddhism when they grow old in schools like this, then also they understand, oh, this is nice thing for me to practice. So I have some friend families whose children were not religious in their young age, but when they have grown old, now they say, but they are not talking about the rituals and the traditional practices. They are only talking about the philosophy and the highest parts of the Buddhism. So they talk now with us. They say, yes, this is what is matching with our mind. This is scientific, and only this teaching can be proved. The other teachings like Christianity, Muslim, and so on. So they say, it's not my idea. They say that it is hard to prove in science. So in that case, they are much more near to Buddhism. But some of them, no, they don't have any kind of religion. So I can't say this second generation of the young people, some of them, they so to say, they have no any special religion. Okay, they don't be away from Buddhism and they don't get another religion too. Okay, so they are neither, so to say, neither Buddhists, no Christians, no Muslims, no Hindus. So sometimes they may regard all the religions in the same way, and they think, yeah, just myself to be good, that is enough. I don't need any religion like this. The other people, so the parents who have come to Europe, they try to bring these children to the temple. So some children come because they can play together in the temple, and some monks give some chocolate or whatever to the children to get this. Some children come to the temple. They don't know this is Buddhism and we need to practice this. However, I think for the second generation, it will run in about 75%.
When some monks run or found build temples in other countries, in Europe, in the States,
When some
monks, some Lankan monks, build or run their own temples in other countries, there is support from Sri Lanka.
Is there any?
Financial support from your main temple in Sri Lanka? Is there any?
So in some temples they take the funds from their own temples in Sri Lanka. But The temples in Europe, they don't need funds from Sri Lanka. Because there are many people and they help running these temples. So if you can't depend on your own finances or your own funds in Europe, it is very hard to bring money from Sri Lanka and to convert. So for example, 160 rupees is €1 in Germany or in Europe.
Yeah.
So you need to pump much of money from Sri Lanka to Europe if you need funds from Sri Lanka. So therefore, it is not practical.
Yeah.
But in some cases, when you have difficulties, yes, indeed, you can have funds. For example, you have run the temple for 10 months, and then the funds are broken, and it is hard to run the temple. So the main temple or the main center in Sri Lanka will help you until you make it steady. And then sometimes you can again help the main center from your funds.
From other countries.
Usually what happens is, we don't bring money from Sri Lanka here, but what we do is we try to help poor people in Sri Lanka, poor children especially. So there are 2 months there is 1 month in Germany, there is 1 month in Austria, this month in Prague too. They help very much Sri Lanka, poor Sri Lankan children. So that is how it is.
This will work, isn't it?
Yes.
So, is there any Buddhist temples that offers meditation retreat, like in Japanese Buddhism, meditation retreat? Session. In Korea, we have a special winter and summer 3 months retreat.
Yes.
Twice a year. Is there any intensive meditation, retreat?
Yes.
Program.
So especially in this center in Prague, they have 1 month meditation program, but not 3 months, I think. 1 month meditation program. In Mahamudra, they have meditation program. In London, there are many centers, they have meditation program. So in my center, what we do is only once a month, we meditate for about 1 hour. It's not a long time.
So many lay people just do, reciting or ritual ceremony with Sri Lankan monks in the temple, right?
Yes.
Not the meditation.
Yes. But I understand what the question here. Not only in Sri Lankan practice, but also in, I think it's similar in the case of some other, for example, even in Burma, Cambodia too. In these countries, I don't know, however, unfortunately, a great place is not, or a great time is not given for meditation. So usually it says, when we come here in Germany, for example, and when we start a center, what is done is, all the contributions are done from Sri Lankan, but for the meditation sessions, there are only Europeans.
Yes, that's why I'm asking to you, because the Europeans are more interested in meditation than in ritual ceremony.
But the problem is, if you are only doing a service for these Europeans, you can't run your temple. They don't do any donation.
Okay. And it was like the one in Austria, the temple in Austria, which was run by German monk, they had 3 different kinds of meditation courses in their program, and not the other 10. Maybe that one in Prague too. That again, there was a German monk, and meditation was in the forefront. It was like, okay, we also meditate, or meditation, but the other one, the Asian or the Sri Lankan groups, there's meditation more in the background.
Yes. So from that we can understand the temples that are more went to European side. In those centers, a great place is given to meditation. The centers that are more went to Sri Lankan side. So the first part is the rituals, ceremonies, the things like this, and meditation goes in
That's the same for the the groups which are more oriented towards Europeans or generally which are more cosmopolitan, they have more meditation, and the groups which are very much for Vietnamese, they have more meditation and narrative rituals.
Yes, and I can give another opinion for the why meditation is that much necessary in European people, for European people. I think they are very much stressed than Asian people. No, it is not a what you call. It's not a blame. I think it's the reality. That is why they come to the temple. For example, in the 3 months I was in England, 2 or 3 people came regularly with big problems in the mind. No, not
just mentally.
Just the problems in the society, not the disorder. So I don't name this stress as a disease, okay? No. I mean, they have mental, you are not free in mind. You are not free in mind. For example, in your workplace you have many things to do. In your house you have no freedom in your mind, like this. That is why many of them mainly come. So if you ask from these Europeans, do you need to attain nirvana? I think they don't need, because they don't have what you call, they don't have suffering, the so-called suffering. For example, they have enough money, they have all the things in their life. What they need is mental freedom. In the case of our poor people is, they have happiness in the mind. What they need is, they don't have money and pleasure, this physical pleasure, these things. Therefore, they see that, okay, when you give donations, you get merits and you get money or wealth more and more, much and more. That is their belief. Therefore, they come to the temple and make the donation, hoping that they will get more and more. Or the case of other people, they don't need to get money more and more, and they don't believe even by giving something you can't get anything. They think by holding yourself you can be more and more rich. So it is different in what you call two beliefs, different two beliefs. And many Europeans don't believe even in rebirth. For example, I had a debate in Bonn with a German who was a very good meditation practitioner for 15 years. And he argued with me, a human being can never be born as an animal. And animals do not have chitta, do not have a mind. So that was his argument. He argued with me. He told, you don't know Buddhism, I know Buddhism. Animals don't have mind. They don't create any kusala or akusala. They don't create any sin or merit. No. Okay? And humans will not be born as animals, and animals will not be born as humans. So it is very much different in beliefs. So we can't prove them. If you do bad things, you can be born as animal. We can't prove them. They don't need to hear it. And if we are going to talk about nirvana, if we are going to talk about the life after the death, they are not interested in